Tinubu, the hidden story behind Nigeria's most controversial president. On May 29, 2023, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was sworn in as the 16th President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It was the culmination of a 30-year political journey that began in the streets of Lagos and ended at the highest office in Africa's most populous nation. But behind the inauguration podium, behind the flowing agbada and the confident smile, there are questions that have followed this man for decades. Questions about a drug case in Chicago. Questions about a certificate that may not exist. Questions about a fortune whose origins have never been fully explained. Questions that Nigeria asked and then somehow never fully answered. Tonight, the silent mentor answers them. How does a man with a documented drug forfeiture case in the United States become president of Nigeria? How does a man whose academic certificate became the subject of a court battle spanning 2 continents get sworn in on a Bible and take charge of 220 million people? And how does a man who reportedly paid $2.7 million to American lobbyists to manage his reputation abroad convince Nigerians at home that there is nothing to manage? These are not opposition talking points. These are questions sourced from U.S. federal court documents, international investigative outlets, and Nigeria's own most credible newspapers. And every Nigerian deserves honest answers to them. In January 1992, Bola Tinubu became the subject of a U.S. federal investigation into heroin trafficking and money laundering in Illinois, Chicago. The investigation centered on a man named Mobolaji Akan, described in court documents as running a substantial and well-connected narcotics business dealing in white heroin. Bank accounts held in Tinubu's name were identified as linked to the proceeds of those drug operations. In 1993, Tinubu forfeited $460,000 to U.S. authorities in connection with the narcotics trafficking and money laundering case. He was not criminally convicted or indicted, but the forfeiture, the legal surrender of money linked to criminal activity, is documented in certified U.S. federal court records that are publicly available to this day. Tinubu has not commented on the narcotics affair, preferring instead to discuss other parts of his background in corporate accounting, consultancy, and pro-democracy activism. He informed the Electoral Office, INEC, in his application to stand for the election that he had no prior criminal convictions. Critics argue that forfeiting nearly $500,000 linked to a drug trafficking case, while technically not a conviction, is not something that should have gone undisclosed on a presidential application. Tinubu's supporters argue the matter is decades old and irrelevant. The court documents, certified and publicly available, let you decide. The second major controversy surrounding Tinubu involves his academic credentials. Tinubu's alleged fudging or outright forgery of key aspects of his biography, including his name, age, and educational claims, became a major controversy. He has long claimed to be a graduate of Chicago State University, a credential central to his political biography. When opposition candidate Atiku Abubakar approached the U.S. court system to compel Chicago State University to release Tinubu's academic records, the response was extraordinary. Rather than seizing the chance to silence critics by releasing the documents, Tinubu told the court that releasing the documents would cause him irreparable harm in Nigeria and requested the court not to release them. Think about that for a moment. The president of Nigeria went to an American court and argued that releasing his own university records would harm him. Not that the records would vindicate him, that releasing them would harm him. A CSU registrar named Caleb Westberg confirmed in a hearing that Tinubu attended the institution between 1977 and 1979. But the full records, the ones that would settle the question permanently, remain blocked at Tinubu's own request. In 2025, in January 2025, Peoples Gazette published an explosive investigation revealing that President Tinubu had hired lobbyists in the United States to help convince lawmakers and policymakers that he carries acceptable personal probity to lead Nigeria after suffering a reputational hit following reports of his involvement in illicit drug peddling and certificate fraud. The Nigerian leader deemed the hirings necessary after evaluating the impact widespread coverage of his narcotics and certificate saga had on his prestige before his foreign counterparts. The total amount paid to American public relations and lobbying firms is $2.7 million, Nigerian taxpayer money, used to manage the international reputation of a sitting president. And in July 2025, the arrest of Ajetobogo Imami, the brother of a close associate of President Tinubu, in connection with a 414-kilogram drug seizure in Lagos, further reignited questions about the company the president keeps. 414 kilograms of drugs connected to someone in the president's inner circle. In 2025, the questions that started in Chicago in 1992 are still being asked, just with different names and different locations. Here's the twist that makes the Tinubu story genuinely complicated. Because despite everything, the drug forfeiture, the certificate controversy, the lobbyists, there is another version of this story that millions of Nigerians believe just as passionately. As governor of Lagos State from 1999 to 2007, Tinubu built something real. He transformed Lagos from a chaotic, underfunded megacity into the most economically productive state in Nigeria. He restructured the state's internally generated revenue from 600 million naira per month to over 5 billion naira per month. He built roads, reformed the transport system, and created a governance model that subsequent Lagos governors, including his own political godchildren, continued building on. The man who allegedly forfeited drug money in Chicago built the most functional state government in Nigeria. That is the Tinubu paradox, and it is why 37% of Nigerians who voted in 2023 chose him anyway. Not because they didn't know about the controversies, but because they looked at Lagos and decided that what he built there was worth more than what the questions suggested. But here is the emotion that sits underneath all of this. In May 2023, the same month Tinubu was inaugurated, he removed the fuel subsidy. Overnight, petrol prices multiplied. Inflation exploded. The naira collapsed to historic lows. Millions of Nigerians who were already struggling found themselves in a crisis that felt unsurvivable. Whether subsidy removal was economically correct or not, the human cost was immediate and devastating. And Nigerians who were already asking questions about drug forfeitures and missing certificates found themselves also asking a simpler, more urgent question. If this man has managed his own biographical controversies with this level of opacity, how is he managing the country's money? That question asked by millions of ordinary Nigerians every single day is not a political question. It is a human question about trust, about accountability, about what Nigerians deserve from the people they give power to. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is 72 years old. He has until 2027 and possibly 2031 to write the final chapter of his story. Whether that chapter becomes the story of the man who finally delivered on the promise of his Lagos years, or the story of how Nigeria's most controversial rise to power ended in its most consequential disappointment, that is still being written. But the questions will not go away. The Chicago court documents exist. The certificate controversy exists. The lobbyist payments exist. The 414-kilogram drug arrest in his circle exists. History does not delete itself because it becomes inconvenient. President Bola Tinubu intervened in the Foyen lawsuit in September 2025, requesting that the U.S. District Court block the unredacted release of his FBI and D records, arguing for their concealment on the grounds of privacy. A sitting African president blocking the release of his own FBI file. In 2025, the silent mentor, because history whispers, we listen. Subscribe now, because the next secret is the one they are actively trying to hide.